Powered by Dubverse. In a major turn of events, the Kenyan parliament was rocked by a powerful protest today as citizens voiced their strong opposition to the controversial financial bill. This bill proposes significant changes to the country's taxation system, leading to widespread outrage among people from all walks of life. The streets of Nairobi become a battleground. As early as 8 a.m., thousands of Kenyans flooded the streets of Nairobi, united in their opposition to the financial bill. Chanting powerful slogans and brandishing placards with messages like "No to higher taxes" and "We can't bear this burden." The atmosphere was charged with emotion as citizens expressed their fears and frustrations over the potential impact of the bill on their lives. Voices of concern and anger. John Mwangi, a small business owner, passionately voiced his concerns, stating that the bill would cripple their already struggling businesses. He emphasized that increasing taxes at this difficult time is simply unacceptable. Many others echoed his sentiment, believing that the proposed tax hikes would disproportionately affect the poor and middle class, aggravating their financial struggles. Tensions escalate and clashes ensue. By mid-morning, tensions had reached a boiling point. Protesters attempted to breach police barricades, resulting in confrontations and the deployment of tear gas. The chaos led to several injuries, including that of Mary Ashino, a mother of 3, who was rushed to the hospital after being hit by a tear gas canister. Her tearful statement, "I was only here to fight for my children's future," encapsulates the deep-rooted determination of the protesters. Fiery debates inside the parliament. Inside the parliament, the scene was no less intense. Lawmakers were deeply divided over the bill, engaging in heated debates and fiery exchanges. Opposition members accused the government of disregarding the struggles of ordinary Kenyans, while proponents of the bill argued that the proposed reforms were necessary for the country's economic stability. Voices of frustration and hope. Among the protesting crowd outside, diverse voices resonated with frustration and anger. Samuel Kiplangat, a university student, emphasized the importance of their voices being heard, as they represent the future of the nation. He questioned how Kenya could thrive if its citizens were burdened with unfair taxes. Powered by Dubverse. A nation on edge. As the day progressed, the protest showed no signs of slowing down, while the debates inside the parliament continued to rage. The government has yet to provide an official response to the protests. Nevertheless, today's events have undeniably highlighted the deep-seated discontent brewing among the Kenyan populace. The impact of the financial bill. Regardless of whether the financial bill is passed or rejected, it has already left an indelible mark on the nation's political landscape. Kenyans anxiously await a resolution that takes into account the needs and voices of all its citizens. This ongoing story will be closely followed for further updates. Stay tuned for the latest news from Kenya. The protest in the Kenyan parliament over the controversial financial bill has garnered significant attention and continues to unfold. Here are some additional details about the ongoing situation. 1. Bill overview. The financial bill proposes various changes to Kenya's taxation system, including increased taxes on basic commodities, higher income tax rates, and the introduction of new taxes. These reforms have sparked widespread outrage and concern among the public. 2. Organized protest. The protest was organized by various civil society groups, trade unions, and concerned citizens. They mobilized thousands of people to take to the streets of Nairobi and express their opposition to the bill. 3. Economic impact. Many protesters argue that the proposed tax hikes would burden the already struggling economy and disproportionately affect the poor and middle class. They fear that the increased cost of living will exacerbate their financial difficulties. 4. Political divide. The financial bill has created a deep divide among lawmakers within the parliament. Opposition members have strongly criticized the government for disregarding the plight of ordinary Kenyans, while proponents argue that the reforms are necessary for economic stability. Powered by Dubverse. 6. Diverse voices. The protest has highlighted the diverse perspectives within the Kenyan population. While many vehemently oppose the bill, some cautiously support it, believing that the proposed changes could lead to long-term benefits for the country. 7. Government response. As of now, the government has not provided an official response to the protests. It remains to be seen how they will address the concerns raised by the citizens. 8. Ongoing developments. The protest and debates within the parliament are ongoing. The outcome of the financial bill and its impact on the nation's political landscape are still uncertain. The situation will continue to be closely monitored for further updates. As events unfold, it is important to stay informed about the latest news and developments surrounding the protest and the financial bill in Kenya. Powered by Dubverse. Stay tuned for more updates on this developing story. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for the latest news from Kenya.
Kenya Finance Bill protests explained. The Kenya Finance Bill protests have their roots in the 2023 anti-government demonstrations following the passage of the Kenya Finance Bill 2023. These protests, led by former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, resulted in 6 deaths and numerous injuries. The 2024 protests began on social media platforms like TikTok and X, formerly Twitter, after the publication of the Finance Bill 2024. On June 18, 2024, the protests transitioned to physical demonstrations, primarily driven by a young demographic and human rights activists. By June 20th, the protests had spread nationwide, with police responding forcefully. The 2024 Finance Bill is part of a broader medium-term revenue strategy, MTRS, developed by the Kenyan government in 2023. This strategy aims to increase the tax-to-GDP ratio from 13.5% to at least 20% between 2024 and 2027. Some of the key proposals in the Finance Bill 2024 include an annual circulation tax for motor vehicles and revised excise duties on petroleum products. Following their initial success, the protests have evolved to demand greater accountability and reform from the government, citing widespread corruption and inefficiency. Implications of the proposed bill: privacy concerns. Amendment to the Kenya Data Protection Act of 2019, allowing the Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, to access financial information such as mobile money statements without court orders. Cost of living. Introduction of an eco-levy on environmentally harmful imported products. Tax changes on items like bread, sugarcane transport, locally assembled mobile phones, electric bikes, and batteries, introducing a 16% VAT. Increased excise duty on alcoholic beverages and cigarettes by up to 40%. New excise duties on vegetable oils, coal, and increased road maintenance levy. Other tax measures. Introduction of a 2.5% motor vehicle tax. Extension of the Kenya Revenue Authority's decision period from 60 to 90 days. Introduction of a minimum top-up tax on multinational groups. Withholding tax on payments for goods supplied to public entities. Withholding tax on interest from infrastructure bonds and digital marketplace sales. Change in tax status for fertilizers, pesticides, and fungicides, affecting manufacturers' VAT claims. Casualties and abductions. The protests have seen significant casualties, with over 10 confirmed deaths and numerous injuries. Both protesters and police have been injured, and there have been reports of abductions and extrajudicial killings by the police. On June 20th, 2 protesters were killed, and around 200 were injured. Journalists and observers were also harmed, and 1 police officer lost both forearms due to a tear gas canister accident. The Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, is investigating the fatal police shootings during the protests. On June 25th, protesters stormed the parliament in Nairobi, leading to the deaths of 19 people shot by the police, with additional fatalities in other cities. International reactions to Kenya Finance Bill protests. International Monetary Fund, IMF. The Finance Bill 2024 was largely influenced by the IMF's demands, sparking intense backlash during the protests. IMF's communications director, Julie Kozak, apologized for the resulting violence but emphasized the necessity of austerity measures and policy changes for Kenya's economic stability. Celebrities. International celebrities have shown support for the protests. Jamaican dancehall artist Conscience waved a Kenyan flag during his performance at the 2024 Summer Jam Festival in Germany. Additionally, the soccer community on X, formerly Twitter, rallied behind the protesters, amplifying the hashtag #RejectFinanceBill 2024. Bobby Wine. On June 23rd, Ugandan opposition leader and activist Bobi Wine voiced his support for the Kenyan protesters on X, encouraging the youth and expressing solidarity. Anonymous. The hacker group. Anonymous threatened cyber attacks on President Ruto and Kenyan parliamentarians, demanding the bill's cancellation. Religious figures. During a holy mass on June 23rd, members of Youth Serving Christ, YSC, called the Finance Bill 2024 an enemy to Kenyans and urged prayers for its rejection. Opposition politicians. On June 24th, the Azimio Coalition Party, led by Opiyo Wandayi, unanimously rejected the Finance Bill 2024 and requested their members in Parliament to withdraw any submitted amendments. However, Raila Odinga faced accusations of using the protests for personal gain. Julius Malema. On June 24th, South Africa's economic freedom fighters, led by Julius Malema, expressed solidarity with the Kenyan protesters, condemning the exploitative legislation. Gideon Moi. Kenyan politician Gideon Moi condemned the arrests and abductions of protest leaders, calling the government's tactics unacceptable.
Are you looking for entertaining and educational content to watch? Subscribe to our YouTube channel today for a variety of interesting videos on topics you love. Join our growing community and never miss out on new uploads. Hit the subscribe button now. Discover new ways to learn and be entertained by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Engage with like-minded viewers and stay updated on our latest videos. Don't miss out, click the subscribe button and be part of our exciting YouTube community.